Hi, folks. Welcome to episode 4 of Ian on EVs. Tesla Model 3, love it or leave it. We've got a couple of Model 3 owners on the line, and they've both had their cars for more than 2 years, so they're going to share their real life experiences, real people, real EVs, and real road trips. We'll start off with Gord Marek from Toronto, and then we'll go with Leo Zaleski from Caledon. So, why don't you start by telling a bit about yourself, how you come to EVs, and other things you do in life, briefly?
Oh, very briefly. Okay, well, you probably know my name. It's Gord Marek, and I've known Ian for a very long time. I'm a computer professional, trainer, consultant. That's the boring stuff. How did I come to EVs? About 7 or 8 years ago, I heard of a company called Tesla. And I was always been a gearhead. So back in the day, I would literally take engines out of cars and rebore cylinders, and really fascinated by how things work. And I realized that Tesla was marrying the love of grease and noise and engines with technology, and I started following them. Couldn't afford a Model S, couldn't afford a Model X, but I kept following. And then about I guess it's more than that, about 4 years ago now, I ordered a Model 3 before I even knew what it looked like before the presentation. And as they all say, the rest is history.
Sounds good, thank you. You've had it since the beginning then, 20...
Yeah, 2018,
Mm-hmm.
May 31st or May 30th, whatever the
Mm-hmm.
last day of May is.
Yep.
I was the second day of deliveries at the airport venue, whatever that conference center is called. I can't remember
International
now.
Center, yes. Mm-hmm.
International thing. Yeah, I was there the second day. It was a zoo. I remember there was a lot of complaints about having a 2 o'clock appointment and waiting till 6 o'clock to pick up the car. I was part of that, but I actually didn't mind it. I was hanging around with a bunch of geeks and hanging around with a bunch of Tesla people, and everybody was excited and talking about the car, and they had a bunch of cars there to look at, and they had videos and presentations, and I think I waited 4 hours. I can't remember, but the time went really, really quickly, and my case was pretty easy. I didn't have to worry about financing. So I just had to basically sign a bunch of paperwork, and off I went. And I remember, I digress a little bit, but I remember going from the International Center to my parents' place, which is just down the road, and showing my it would have been 84, 85-year-old dad at the time, my new car. Never heard of a Tesla, and I opened up the front to show him the engine. And I think everybody knows what happens at that point.
Yeah, wonderful. Good,
Yeah.
good story. I was at the International Center a couple of weeks after you, and I was the last one of the day, so I had 3 or 4 staff people all to myself. Kind of the opposite, kind
So
of the opposite
you had a
experience. Yeah,
slightly different experience.
very much.
Yeah, I didn't mind it at all. It was fun. There was a number of goofs there that were complaining there should have been this and blah 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 blah. But you have those in every group.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Leo, over to you. Same question, please.
Okay, well, I mean, EVs. I first started kind of looking at them about 15 years, I guess 15 years ago, and actually that was through all mostly the electronic publications. So I'm into electronics, that time the publications mostly talked about GM and what they were trying to do, and though I got really turned off in it for a while, because all these articles about GM were, well, this is going to be 10 years down the road. We don't have enough lithium. And basically, it was kind of like they really didn't want to do this, So then I forgot about it for a while, and but then my boss at work, he bought a Leaf. Oh, okay, that's looks neat. And I looked into a Leaf for a bit, but. My round trip to work was about 80 kilometers, and I think that Leaf had about 90 or 100-kilometer range. I thought, 1 kilometer short in the winter is not going to be pretty. So I gave up that, and then I heard about Tesla. Okay, that's neat, and it got some real range, and unfortunately, the S was. By that time, I had retired, and the S was. I felt going to be a little bit for a retired person.
Mm-hmm.
So, but then I heard about the 3. Oh, okay. So when I announced it on the 31st of March, there I was actually in Toledo at a RC show, and I was in the evening. I watched the presentation on my iPad, and when Elon said, "Well, we already got 150,000 people put their money down," so out came my credit card. So I went to an RC show and bought a car instead of an electric airplane.
Cool. So you've had yours since nearly the beginning.
Yeah. I get it 2 years and 2 months later it showed up.
How many kilometers do you have on?
45.
Right, that's about the same as mine. Gord was saying he's got about 111,000 on his, and I quizzed him on that.
He drives more than both of us put together.
I quizzed him about that, and he said, "Any chance to drive, I can. How do I go?" Gord, back to you. So, can you tell us a couple of things that you like about the car? 2 or 3 of the best things.
Okay. I was wondering if you're going to.
I know that's one of your favorite topics, but go for it.
It is, yeah. I was wondering if you're going to go through those questions that we talked about earlier on. Well, obviously, it's quiet, it's powerful, it's sleek, it's sexy, it's incredibly fun to drive. One of the things that surprised me about the Tesla, and I'll be honest with you, I didn't expect this. I knew about the speed and I knew about the performance and all that stuff, but this car is a real sports car. So coming back from my gearhead days, I never owned one of those crazy BMWs or Mercedes or anything like that. I didn't want to spend the money on them, and I didn't think it was worth it. But whenever I got a chance to buy one of those, I did. Whenever I got a chance to ride one of those, because some of my friends had them, I knew what it was like to drive a performance car and the feel of it and all that stuff. And that was actually the thing that really surprised me about the Tesla when I got into it. And I remember one of the first rides I gave to somebody was a fellow gearhead, and he was skeptical about EVs. And I didn't talk about the electronics. I didn't talk about the screen. I didn't talk about anything because at the time I was still learning it. I think it was only like the second day I had the car, so I was still trying to figure out all the whiz bang stuff that the car has. And we went out for what I would call a mechanical drive, basically accelerating hard, braking, steering, all of the mechanical stuff that you would expect a car to have. And this thing was amazing. And he looked at me, shortly after that drive, and he said, "I've had performance cars that are worse than this. I can't believe this." And so what I do now when I take people out, I don't show them the toys that the car has. We get to that eventually. But I say to them, drive this car like you would drive a regular car. And other than the regenerative braking, which I have turned on, that's the only thing that's different. People are surprised how good this car is from a pure mechanical point of view. And then you can get into the all the other stuff, the lovely parts of the car, the software updates, the auto driving, it goes on and on and on, because it really is completely different than what's out there, but yet it has the heritage of a wonderful car.
Cool. Good stuff. And Leo. So can you say the 2 or 3 things you like best about the car?
Oh, I don't know. Just, the charging at home, I don't have to go to gas stations. But what was it? About a month before I got it, I went to get gas somewhere in Brampton over there, and I had to wait in line to get to the pump. And then I get to the gas station, and two people in front of me, the person was buying lottery tickets. Couldn't make up his mind which lottery tickets they're going to buy. And I'm saying, when I get in my car, the only reason I'm coming in here is to use the bathroom. So the charging at home, I think is neat. The low maintenance so far. It's another plus side.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a Tesla EV charger, or do you just plug in?
Yeah,
Or
I've got the home charger. I installed that.
right?
I actually built a nice little box for it. I call it the little outhouse. Like I said, I'm into electronics, so and where it is, it's in would spend good time in direct sunlight. So I see it's sitting in direct sunlight for 5 to 10 years. The cable will start to rot.
Mm, yeah,
That and it keeps all the snow and crap off it in the winter. So I mean, they're meant to be outside, but I like the belt and braces idea.
sure enough. Yeah. Gord, back to you. Can you tell about a road trip you've been on? The longest road trip you've been on?
Oh, yes. Go back to my parents. So I picked up the car May 31st. Sometime, I think it was October. I don't remember, but it was very soon after I got the car. I probably supercharged it once or twice, maybe, because I went to Ottawa for drives. But I just said to my folks, "Let's go to Florida." And my dad loves road trips, and my mom's like, okay. So I take my elderly parents, we pack some food. I did a little bit of research approximately 12 hours into the trip. South Carolina, I think it was, or North Carolina, I don't recall. I found a hotel near there that would have been approximately a good spot. And I basically punched in the address in the map in the car, and it said drive to this supercharger, stay for X number of minutes, and continue your trip. And everything went absolutely flawlessly. I didn't plan it. Like now I know about a better, I think it's called a Better Trip Planner, and I know about all the different apps you can find to get this level 2, level 3 chargers that you can find out there. But I was quite naive when I did this, and we drove to Florida. We drove to South Carolina with absolutely no problems, and we had a little bit of an incident in Florida because of the toll routes, nothing to do with the car, but that worked out fine. I didn't have enough cash to pay a toll, but we ended up, they wouldn't take credit card, so we ended up everything turned out fine. But I think back in this thing, I'm going, I have elderly parents and I have an EV car. I have no idea what I'm doing. I just basically stuck him in the car, and I said, what could possibly go wrong? And absolutely nothing went wrong. So, and I've done a number of trips like that. Just as interest, I have 111,000 kilometers in the car now. So the car is 26 months old or something like that.
Say the number again. 100 and
11,000.
Wow, that's a lot of driving.
Yeah. Any excuse to get out there.
My longest road trip was from Toronto to Washington, D.C. And because we have the 407 here, I had turned off turned the setting to don't use toll roads, and I forgot to turn it off when I crossed the border. So it routed me through goodness knows where, all these little small towns.
Yes.
And I had a great ride, and there were superchargers. But the one thing that happened was that it started to rain, and I went to do the wipers, and it said you're out of washer fluid, and it must have warned me before, and I just didn't see it. So I pulled it. I'm out in the middle of nowhere. It's like the prairies, right? It's flat between the mountains, and there's nothing. And then suddenly a gas station comes in sight. So I pull in there, run inside, buy a jug of washer fluid, come out to open the front trunk, which is where the washer fluid is, and it grinds, but it doesn't open. So I said, oh dear, this is not going to end well. So anyway, before too long, the rain let up, so I was able to keep driving anyway, and I got to DC safely. And so I phoned Tesla and told them the story and told them where the car was. And while I was working during the day, they found the hotel, found the car in the underground garage, which I hadn't told them anything about what level it was on or anything, fixed the problem, and left me a thank you note. You're not going to get that kind of service from any other car maker.
No, that's absolutely incredible. I'm wondering if they knew where the car was, because it's always located. It always knows where the service was. But it's still incredible that they actually went through that process to do that.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I had I had a couple of Ranger calls. A few small warranty things needed to be replaced, and I don't have a garage at my house. My parents have a garage, so I keep going back to my parents. And I remember calling my dad saying, "Do you mind if I use your garage?" And he's surprised. He's wondering why. I said, "Well, the service technician is coming over to fix my car," and he was all puzzled and goes, "Don't you go to a dealership?" I'm like, "No, actually, the dealership comes here."
Yep.
So yeah, very wonderful service. Wonderful service from my experience. And I've been to the Tesla dealership myself. I recently had a windshield replaced, and again, no problem. Even with the COVID stuff going on, drop off the car, drop off the key. You're communicating over a cell phone. Would you like a rental, or would you like a loaner? No problem, and we're done.
I've had the same experience with the rentals, with the not the rentals, but with the repair service.
Yeah.
Had it in a couple.
Which one?
I've been to the one in Mississauga and to the one in there's a new one in Vaughan, I think it is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I've been to both Mississauga and the one in Oakville, and I tend to go to the one in Oakville.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good experiences.
Absolutely. Leo, you've had your car for a while. What's the longest road trip you've gone with it?
Oh, we went to Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
Just on the Mississippi River, so I charged at superchargers. I charged at the hotel that we stayed at, and I also plugged into 2 campgrounds we were staying at. So I got a cable I can plug it at a TT30 at the campgrounds and charge at the campground.
Right, good stuff. Gord, back to you. So what's the one thing you would improve most if you were, if you're in charge of redesigning the car?
I think they've already done it with the Model Y. I miss having a hatchback instead of a trunk. That would be an improvement, but this is also the shape of the car, so that's not something that I would change. This sounds horrible, but there's not much I would improve. There really isn't. I think they really thought everything through. And when I compare it to other cars, everything's there that I need. I hear things like people griping about not having the flashing lights on the mirrors when you're changing lanes. Or sorry, the flashing lights are there, but the warning lights about blind spots. That doesn't bother me. I find a car will warn me if there's an issue. There's little gripey things like that, but I really don't have an issue.
And that's from somebody with 111,000 kilometers on the car. So if anything didn't show up, it would have.
I think so. I really sometimes one thing that I would sometimes I find it a little bit fiddly on the display. If I wanted to change something, I need to go to a couple of menus deep. But I found the voice commands are not bad, and muscle memory has figured out where things are. But I do love the clean display. I don't want any more buttons on it, but sometimes I find it's a little fiddly to locate something. But the majority of the stuff that I need, not the majority, everything that you need for driving, is one click away or one stock press away. So I hate to say this, I sound like a Tesla fanboy, and I am, but I probably wouldn't change anything in the car.
That's good to know. Yeah. Staying with Gord for a minute, have you got any last-minute thoughts or opinions for the audience?
Closing thoughts. This is actually serendipity that happened to me, and I would probably do this again. So having the car very early on, one of my friends works for 3M, who was doing a promotion for body wrap, and he asked me if I can borrow the car because it would attract more attention to his booth, and I said no problem. And he says, as a thank you, what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap your car in clear PPT, paint protection film, PPF, paint protection film, as a thank you for doing this. And what I'm going to do is while I'm on the show, the guys will be wrapping your car so they can see how it's done. I'm like, that's great. That's a really expensive thing to do, and I appreciate it. And I went to pick up the car after it was there for 2 days, and the car looked like a race car.
Hmm.
Not only did they wrap it in clear protection film around the front and on the sides and everywhere else,
Nice.
but they started putting in 3M stickers, other company stickers. They started putting in swaths of color. What they were doing is showing off that year's colors. And my friend was fully intending me to peel these off. And when I showed up, I looked at the car. I was like, "Holy crap! What have you done?" He goes, "Don't worry about it. This can all be peeled off." And I knew that, but I was still shocked at how many things they stuck on it.
Right.
So I peeled off the corporate stuff, but I found I really liked the colors. My color is light silver, which you can't get anymore. And then we had these vibrant colors, 4 colors on the door that are kind of a sway. And Ian has a picture of the car. So if you post it on YouTube, you'll see it. And there's 4 colors on one side, 4 colors on the other side. So I have a 9-color car if you include the base. And I absolutely love it. I probably would have never spent the money to do this, but it's really neat to have something that unique. And I've had to give up my bank robbing career because it's too easy to find a car. But other than that, it's really neat to have a car that is very unique. And I never thought I would like that. So that was neat.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing. I'll let you go now so I can talk just to Leo.
Perfect.
Thank you again for
Ian,
for being on. Yep.
Thank you for letting me do this, and I look forward to talking to you soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye. What's the one thing you would improve about the car if you were given sort of magic wand powers or hired at Tesla to redesign it or anything?
You have to make sure the driver's window is closed when you use the washer fluid.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. You get a wet surprise otherwise.
Yeah. You get drips over. I mean, that'd be my biggest beef with it.
Okay. Good enough. Anything else you'd improve about the car?
I mean, there's everybody always wants more range, but do you really need it? That's low on the scale. I mean, a lot of people complain about fit and finish and body gaps and all that. I mean, the driver's door is a tiny bit off, but not enough to do anything about.
Fair enough. Good.
That, and also on the trunk, what you should check on yours, where the trunk hits just above the bumper, the trunk actually rubs on the bumper. So it puts a wear mark on the bumper. But the bigger issue, it can be wearing away the paint on the lip of the trunk.
Mm-hmm. I'll check that out. Yeah.
I've actually made spacers that force the trunk to stay a bit up, but it's still rubbing a tiny bit. So I'm debating about putting some the 3M protection film a little bit along the underside of that lip there, because if it rubs the paint off there, you can get rust there. So let's start rusting the trunk. I think the trunk is steel. Yeah. I mean, and it only only time it hits, there is a gap there when it's closed. So the only time I see it actually hitting is when you either hit a bump or you close the trunk itself.
Right enough. Okay, we'll check that out. Thank you. Any closing words of advice for the audience?
EVs seem to be catching on. I mean, the variety is improving. A major disappointment with the EV is everybody and his brother seems to be wanting to make a high-end EV. Because you get the new Cadillac and the Lucid, those only sell in the thousands, and if you're doing this for environmental reasons, they basically, there's not enough of them to have any real benefit to the environment. Companies need to come out with more mid-range and low end EVs.
For sure. Yep.
So everybody would take over. I mean, the people that has a second vehicle in subdivisions and towns and all that don't need a long range machine. That's where we need a bigger selection of EVs. Because, I mean, building your 500 mile Lucid over there, okay. That's pretty, but I'm not going to sell many of those.
Not enough to change the world.
Yeah, or there's Cadillac over there. I mean, you're not going to sell many of those, and everybody else is high-end car. I mean, it's they're all going. That part of the market's a small piece of pie. Well, they say the high margin, but I mean, if everybody's going for the small piece of pie, everybody's going to get a really small piece of pie.
That's right. Yep.
And it says it's not going to be the environmental benefits going to be minimal.
Yep. Fair enough. Good point. Okay. Well, thank you much for your time.
Okay. Thanks, Ian.
Thank you.
See you next time we see you.
Sure.
Okay,
thank you.
bye.
Bye.